Hello. Hello, can you hear me? Does it work now? Hello, George, can you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I cannot see your picture.
Yeah,
Is your camera working?
my video, it is working. I don't know why it isn't broadcasting.
Uh-huh. Okay. So this is from Facebook. Hello, people are here and they are responding. I started, there is an option which we can use to work from us. Are you joining from your mobile or from your desktop?
I'm on the desktop now. Do you want me to join from the mobile?
Try, maybe. Maybe your camera is not set.
It is.
On your...
The camera is actually working, but
Check
I
that
don't
it is
know
working.
why.
Can
Working.
you see the icons? For example, I turned myself now.
Yeah.
Now it's like when you are making a call on Messenger, but it is like being broadcast live. So just try to see if you can switch the camera.
I'm just switching to.
Accept. It is working now. Okay.
Okay,
so
let me see if I turn
yeah,
it like this.
yeah, it's good. It's okay now. It's okay. Great.
Okay, that's good to know.
Great. Okay, so
And can everyone else see me?
sorry everyone for the technical issues that happened, but as you know that Facebook has some secrets that we have to discover or rediscover. So now I am actually logging on from a room. There's an option which allows people to go together. Now you have the audience, people are there, people are welcoming you. And hello everybody. We are waiting for more people to join also, and we are ready to answer all your questions. We will return back to the points. We will chat until people join. So talking again, sorry, we have to do it again. Talking about the history of the Delta and how it developed. Yeah. You told us that you have a long history with the Delta since it was from the RSA.
Yes, I was just saying I'm a Delta dinosaur because I started doing this 30 years ago when it wasn't even called the Delta. It was still the RSA Cambridge diploma. Cambridge had just bought it from the RSA, so it had a joint name, and they had two different diplomas, one for adults and one that was more flexible. So that's when I started teaching on the Delta, and I continued until today. And
sorry,
the
George,
difference is,
I think you will have also to introduce yourself first to the audience, because this is the third time we do this broadcast. So people want to know more about you. And we have, during this, I will try to see some questions which popped here. I will write them down and let them be after you introduce yourself.
Fantastic. So I think, since we're talking about the Delta, that's the first thing you probably want to know about me, that I've been doing this since before the Delta was called the Delta. I've been teaching on this course and designing Delta courses forever. I've been training teachers for 30 years, and in all those 30 years, it's the diploma that I've mostly been working on. Of course, I've been doing CELTA and shorter courses as well, but mostly the diploma. I've also worked as an academic manager. I've worked with a chain of language schools with 45,000 students, where I was the academic manager for about 3 years. I've worked in language exam development as director of a language exam department with City and Guilds. I've worked as an author. I've written 21 course books for publishers like Macmillan, Cengage, and a few others. And I've done basically everything that there is to do in English language teaching until recently. I decided, together with my colleague and friend, who is also a Delta and CELTA teacher trainer and a CELTA assessor, Alexander Makarios, we decided to start our own teacher development center in Athens, Greece.
Okay.
And that's about it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You were my Delta tutor for module 1, 2, and
Yes.
finally module 3. It was a journey, actually,
Yes.
which I started in October 2015, and I finished in August 2020. And one of
Okay.
the questions here, which I saw, Hiba is asking about which is more challenging, the CELTA or Delta? I can't tell you. I finished the CELTA in 1 month. This is one feature, but I had to finish the Delta in 4 years. Although I did module 1 and 2 in Athens together in the same period in December 2016, and I got the results in February 2017. But the Delta needs a lot of focus, a lot of time, a lot of efforts, and of course a lot of money. What do you think, George?
Well, not necessarily a lot of money. It depends where you go to do it, Imad.
Yeah.
There are centers that charge a lot of money. There are centers that are more understanding of, the fact that teachers do not necessarily make a lot of money, are not necessarily mega rich. So there are centers that are more affordable. Regarding the question, there is no comparison. The CELTA is an introductory certificate, a level 5 certificate. It is not half as demanding as the Delta. Now, not everybody needs, to take years to complete the Delta, but Imad, you were working full-time at the same time, and it is really very difficult to do a course like the Delta in an intensive mode if you are also working at the same time.
Sure.
Like you said, you did the CELTA in 1 month. You weren't doing anything
Of course.
that month, right?
Yeah.
The CELTA was your life.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you dedicate 4 months, 3 or 4 months of your life to the Delta and do nothing else, you can probably do it in 3 or 4 months, do all 3 modules, but you have to do that and that only, not work, not go out, not meet friends, not have a family, or, leave your family behind.
Really.
And for 3 or 4 months, do only the Delta. But of course, there are more relaxed options. There are part-time Delta courses that people can take if they are working and are not capable of, giving all of their time to the Delta.
Says to you, hi, perfect tutor, Mr. George. You remember Hussam?
Thank you, Hussam. Hello.
He's my Delta buddy. Yeah. And
look, I've just opened the comments here on my computer so I can see them too.
Yeah. More questions here. Your number 1 advice for Delta candidates, please. Mustafa Tawfiq is asking.
Okay. Number 1 advice, be organized, be determined, Be motivated.
Yes,
Now,
I know some
motivated,
people.
I know you're going to be, of course, you know, if you're doing the Delta, you are highly motivated. But be organized is, I think, the first thing I would say. Be organized and do one thing at a time. I see someone, at least one person asked, can you do more than one modules at the same time? You can, but I think it might be a better idea not to. It might be a better idea to take it one thing at a time, not everything at the same time.
Okay, so let me check if there are any questions. People are welcoming you, George. So Muhammad, you remember Muhammad Jamal? He
Yeah.
was with you in the
Hello.
center. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, Muhammad.
Welcome. Glad to see
Okay.
you.
Okay. So Yusuf asks, let us know about your guest. Yes, Yusuf. George was my Delta tutor in Athens for module 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And he's a Delta tutor, experienced, knowledgeable. He helped also me during module 3. I was actually in a dilemma during module 3. So last summer, when I had more time to do module 3, I could finally do it. And as he mentioned in his number 1 advice, being organized and focused. Delta needs time, needs focus, and usually when we are working full time, we actually don't have enough time for the study and reading and writing. Okay, let's start our agenda today, George. So, as we have planned before, we have some questions in the event which we agreed to discuss together. Let me check in here.
I think I can get them here.
Oh, yeah.
Imad.
So the first question was like, what is the Delta and who is it for? That was the first question.
So it's a postgraduate professional qualification in English language teaching. It's level 7 in the UK qualifications framework, and it's intended for teachers that are experienced and that have completed basic methodology training, such as the the CELTA, at least a year before they start the Delta. It consists of 3 modules, so you don't need to do all of the Delta at once, which some of you were asking about. Module 1 is the background, the theoretical knowledge that you need, and language analysis and awareness mostly. And it is examined via an external examination set by Cambridge. Module 2 is the coursework-based module. So you need to attend a course for this module. You need to do assignments as well as teaching practice. You need to be assessed teaching, and you need to demonstrate teaching skills at a very high level, much higher than for the CELTA. And module 3, the last module, is where you do some research and you design a course in an area of specialism, such as teaching business English, teaching monolingual classes, teaching young learners. There is a number of specialisms that you can choose from for your module 3. Once you have accumulated all 3 certificates for the different modules, which you can complete at different times, then you can get the overall Delta diploma.
Yeah. Which module should I do first? And is it a good idea to start with module 1?
Module 1, as I said before, is the module that provides the theoretical background, right? So
is it recommended to start from theoretical?
Yes, because in a way, the two other modules take the knowledge that you acquire by doing module 1, they take it for granted.
Yeah.
It is much easier to do the essays, for example, and to design your lessons for module 2 if you already have the basic knowledge that is required in module 1.
Yeah.
And of course, module 3 goes a bit further because you specialize. So it is assumed that you already know the basics before, the basics of teaching in different contexts before specializing in one specific context.
Okay, great. From the questions related to this from the audience here, Hussam Bakr asks about, it's another Hussam, it's not our Hussam. Okay. Yeah. How can we handle M1? How can we handle M1, module 1?
With a lot of patience and a lot of work. If you are working at the same time, and I'm assuming most of you, if not all of you, are working at the same time, and if you cannot afford to take time off just for the Delta, then I would suggest do a part-time course. And prepare yourself for the exam over a period of 6, 7, or 8 months, because that you can do even if you're working at the same time. You would probably need to dedicate about 3 or 4 hours a week to studying for the Delta if you took it over 6 months for module 1. And that is doable, even for a working teacher. If you manage your time well, if you organize yourself, then you can definitely do it. You can definitely do, 3 or 4 hours of study a week. I see some people are asking, how many books am I supposed to read? It's not just a question of reading books. I would say off the top of my head, at least 25 books on different aspects of language and language teaching, because you need to read up on language acquisition theories, approaches and methods, the history of language teaching, books on teaching the different skills, teaching listening, teaching reading, teaching speaking, teaching writing, books on teaching the systems, teaching grammar, teaching vocabulary, teaching pronunciation, teaching discourse. There's a lot of things that you need to.
Cambridge, the syllabus for module 1 from Cambridge contains about 6 units, which are around this. Yeah.
Correct.
So we need to organize our readings around the, feeding these units. Just Cambridge gives the layout of the syllabus, and you as a Delta candidate.
Because the syllabus is publicly available, but there is an easier way. You can just look at the exam. You can an examination paper, and you will see exactly what it contains. So
there are 2 things here. Let's say the input or the content that you need to feed yourself with, and being prepared for the exam itself, the test or the kind of assessment for module 1. And you should plan yourself for module 1 in these 2 levels, not just one thing, right?
Yes.
And this leads us to the next question in our interview. What does the exam consist of?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me say absolutely, it was a very good point that you made. It's not enough to just do the background study. You also need to get familiar with the exam and how the exam works. Like with all the exams, right? All exams need you to look at exam technique and exam management skills. The Delta Module 1 exam consists of 2 papers. Each of them is 1.5 hours. And paper 1 tests your knowledge of terminology to describe language and to describe
By the
teaching
way,
methodology.
I think we have the option here to share our screen. So if you would like me to share with you the papers from Module 1 exam.
Yes, or I can also give people a link, if you give me just a few seconds, where they can download the official Cambridge handbook, which contains a sample paper with comments and notes. So if you download this document, which I hope you can see, I put in the comments.
Yeah.
Then it's a PDF document from Cambridge, which contains a sample paper. So you see what the exam looks like. So in paper 1, I was saying, first of all, you are tested on knowledge of terminology. Second, the link, Mahmoud, is, I've just sent it in the comments. Can you see it? Excellent. I see you're liking it, so you can all see it. The next part of paper 1 is for you to assess what kind of language a learner would need to do a particular task. So that tests your understanding of skills and micro skills of writing and speaking. The next task requires you to evaluate the performance of a learner. They will give you a script that the learner wrote or a transcript of something that they said, and you need to identify strengths and weaknesses.
Is it similar to when we teachers mark? I mean, evaluating the learners, is it same like when you mark a piece of the learner's production in a test or something? Or really, it needs more experience here?
You don't have to mark it, but you have to describe the strengths and weaknesses. So Cambridge wants to see whether you can analyze the language that the learner has used in relation to the target language. And then the biggest task in paper 1 is a language awareness task, which really tests, and I mean it, your knowledge of grammar, your knowledge of lexis, your knowledge of phonology, and your knowledge of discourse. And that big language analysis task is actually worth half the marks of the paper.
Yes, I think it's task 5.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I remember during the test, which was in Greece, and you were the invigilator. I started with task 5, and it took about 50 minutes from about the 90 minutes. It took about 50 minutes. I started with it, and I couldn't stop writing and analyzing.
It
takes time, and you should start with it.
It's a very demanding task, and it does really test how much grammar you know, how much phonology you know, how much of the language you know, but you know really, really well. And then paper 2, that looks at methodology mostly. It begins with a task that is based on testing. It's evaluation of some testing material. So the examiners want to find out how much you know about principles and practice of assessment and testing. Then there is a long task on understanding coursebook material, what the purposes behind different activities are, how a sequence of activities works, and so on, and also relating the practice material to principles that are behind it and theories of learning and approaches and methods. And then the last part of paper 2 is a methodology question, which requires an answer that is more like an essay, in that you have to make a number of points, 15 different points, about a specific methodology issue.
Yeah. For example,
So it's not an easy.
I remember this
Don't pretend it's an easy.
from my test. It was about the advantages and disadvantages of using TTT, the teacher talking time, which was a taboo in CELTA.
Yes.
Has its own advantages, of course, if we had a look at it, but it depends on the quality of when it is used, how it is used, and if it is used, for example, for guided discovery, is it used for ICQs, for CCQs, etc. But here is the trick, actually, because maybe some of us during the CELTA or during any, we had some misconception about TTT. It's not always a bad thing.
That is, you know, thank you for that comment, Imad, because it really shows what the difference is, the big difference between the CELTA and the Delta. The CELTA, you know, will give you some basic skills to help you survive in the classroom. And it will even tell you some things that may not be 100% true, but they can help you survive. It's like when you're teaching, you know, students, and you tell them when they are still elementary, you tell them, you must use some in affirmative sentences and any in negatives and interrogatives. That's good enough as for a beginner student, for an elementary. Later, they will reevaluate it. And when they get more advanced, they'll find out that, well, actually, you can use some in negative sentences and you can use any in positive sentences.
So
it's more complicated.
Things. I mean, here you can say you rediscover things in the Delta, things that were not in the CELTA. The CELTA is at a lower level. It's like, let's say, a poor version, or I can't find the word here. It's like a smaller version of Module 2. In some ways, there are similarities in it, and that it
Delta is very, very practical.
Yeah, very. I by the way, when I was giving some of the inputs in the CELTA, my trainer told me to stop telling the CELTA trainees about anything relating to the Delta during the input. So he wants them to just focus on the CELTA level only. So no need to give any higher terminology, and to keep them focused onto this level and until they are fit to it. Let's see another question. So I think you answered it. So let's go. We will skip it. So what do you think is the most challenging part of exam in Delta Module 1?
In my experience, it's different if you are a native speaker or a non-native speaker teacher.
Yeah.
For native speakers, the most challenging part of the exam is task 5 in paper 1, the language analysis task, because most native speaker teachers find grammar challenging. But non-native speaker teachers are usually better at grammar. So the part they find more challenging is task 2 in paper 2. That's the task where you have to analyze coursebook material and discuss connections between theory and practice.
And what about the EBA? I found some native speakers not familiar with the phonemic transcription.
Oh yeah, you know, it's not just phonemic transcription. Some native speaker teachers don't know anything about grammar. They may be able to speak the language, but they can't necessarily analyze it. So, you know, non-native speaker teachers have an advantage there for paper 1 of the Delta.
Yeah.
Because if I, you know, a group like your group, you know, how many uses of the present perfect can you think of?
Mhm.
You automatically, I'm sure all of you can think of at least 4 or 5 uses. If I ask the same question to a native speaker group of teachers, they will struggle. Most of them will struggle. Some of them will even say, what is the present perfect? So they have a lot more work to do than the natives, because as non-native teachers, we have learned the language, we have studied the language. So we know a bit more about the grammar and we can answer more of the questions in the exam.
Okay, another question. Can I prepare on my own, or do I need to do a course for Module 1?
Cambridge doesn't make you do a course. It is not a requirement that you do a course. Theoretically, you can prepare on your own.
Yeah.
Right? Like with everything, you know, preparing on your own, it's easier to lose focus, and it's not always certain that you will know exactly what to prepare for. You know,
So you
exactly
need guidance, I think, here.
what place more emphasis on. So if you can afford a course, I would strongly suggest that you do a Module 1 preparation course rather than, you know, study anything you find and hope that you will pass. It's not an easy exam, so not everyone that takes the exam passes it, even if they have studied a lot. You do need preparation, and it helps if that preparation is more systematic, like through a course, right?
Yeah, I agree with you, actually, because I know some of my colleagues who did the exam 2 times or 3 times, or they followed a course where there is no face-to-face guidance. It's just you have an access to the material without
Oh, yeah,
having the
yeah.
experience, or
Like,
just having a forum, or you drop your question here. And for me, I followed a Delta Module 3 course like this, and it was not okay. The last time I did the course with you was really fruitful. I could manage my time. I could know what to do, what to write, and so on. And even with Module 1, the kind of preparation, the kind of practice, the kind of deep knowledge was, let's say, a good help for me during the journey, during Module 1 and Module 3.
yeah,
And people, actually, you don't have to register for in a center for example, Module 1. You can just register for a course, and then you register the exam in another course. And the same thing with for Module 3. You don't have to submit. Yeah.
you can go and sit the exam anywhere in the world. You know, you can take the course like online, or you can take a course, say, in Cairo, Egypt, and then 2 months later you find yourself in, I don't know, in Saudi Arabia or in Morocco or in France.
Yeah.
You can sit the exam in any Cambridge center anywhere in the world, and that has nothing to do with where you take your course. So you can take your course anywhere that you like, and it won't make a
So let's
difference.
recap it here. So you need preparation, and not any kind of preparation, right? You can do it
Correct.
yourself if you know how to do it, if you are experienced and you know all the components. But at the same time, you might need guidance. You can take the test at any place in the world, but remember, you have to book the test 2 months before the time of the test, or at maybe 1 month and a half or something. So you have to coordinate this with the nearest center to your location, right? And
Correct.
this also can be applied for Module 3 in some way. You can prepare yourself. You can write Module 3 research yourself, and then submit it to any center or you can register with the center and submit it with the same center. But what happens before that depends, actually. If you don't know how to do it, because I had a long story with Module 3, and guidance is very important. Always ask people who had gone through the experience or have been through this kind of experience, because there are secrets that are not written on the internet or are not found in books, of course. And let's go now to part 3 of our interview. As you told before, that you have your own center, which is started, I think, when, George? Can you remind us? Recently, I think.
It started in January, last month.
Yeah, okay. Congratulations on this.
Very much.
What is the name of your center? Tell us about
the name is ACE TEFL.
Why did you name it like this, and what is the story behind your center?
Story is Alexander and I, the two partners, have been working together for very many years. Alex is a lot younger than me, so he hasn't been working as a trainer for 30 years, but he has been working as a trainer for 15 years. So we've been working together for many years. We've designed courses together, we've taught courses together, and we're also very good friends. And we decided, you know, that it was time to start our own center where we could do things the way we thought was best. We started the center with a view to helping teachers. We're already offering very many free seminars, free webinars. We've also started a blog where we try to blog at least once a week. So we interact with people. And we're also offering Cambridge courses like the Delta Module 1 that are affordable. You know, that's the first thing we had to consider. What kind of course can a normal teacher that, you know, doesn't necessarily make a lot of money, what can they afford to pay for?
Yeah.
Can keep the quality really high and make sure our rates are affordable.
Mohammed asks if you can post the link to your center here also.
Sure, yeah. Here is the link. We're called ACE TEFL, Athens Centre for Teachers of English as a Foreign Language. This is our site. And we do have a Facebook page as well. Let me just get the address of the page and I'll send it to you. And if you like what you see, maybe you could also like our page, right? So what I've sent you, the first link was to our center's website. And this link is to our Facebook page, where you can also find information about the free seminars that we offer, free webinars, and all of that. Tomorrow morning, for example, at 10 a.m. Greek time, which is 11, I think, in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia, and in Egypt. No, in Egypt is 10, right, Imad?
Yeah, 1 hour difference. Egypt is the same like Athens.
Egypt is the same, so 10 in the morning, and for KSA, it's 11 in the morning. We are doing, we are participating in an event on exam classes. So I'm doing a talk at 10 in the morning on speaking, and Alexander at 11:30 on writing. You'll find the links if you go to our Facebook site, and it's for free.
Great. Many things are for free nowadays.
Thank you so much. Very kind.
Yeah. Now, what does your course for Delta Module 1 include in your center? People want to know what is different. What makes your course different from other courses?
Okay, first of all, it's not the kind of course that you were talking about before, Imad. It's not, here is the material, you go and read on your own. It's a contact course. So the course comprises 84 hours of contact between you and your tutors. That's even online. We do it on Zoom, that most teachers are familiar with.
Yeah.
And you communicate with your tutors, you talk to them all the time, you see them, and it's not just that you go and read something and then study on your own. So that's one difference. The second difference is it's 84 hours. Nobody else has an 84-hour-long contact course for Module 1.
Yeah.
In addition, a non-synchronous and asynchronous component where you can go and do extra work, extra tasks, and extra readings. We provide all of those for you. We offer 2 mock exams as well with individualized feedback on your strengths and weaknesses. And we only have a small group of students on each course. We accept up to 8 students. Up to 8 students.
Only 8 students.
We can.
Yeah. So
yeah, 8 students for each course.
It's not a matter of number. Yeah, because
no,
some centers, for example, can have like 20 students, maybe more than this in one course, and so their concentration and feedback is lacking, or maybe.
Well,
is this a policy in your center that you have only 8?
It's a policy that we have small groups. So we don't, we're not doing this to get rich. We're doing this to make a living, but also be able to give to people what we think they deserve. So up to 8 people for each course. We can give each of the students individual attention.
Great.
People are asking.
Mohsen is telling you something here. You know Mohsen, of course. Congratulations, Mohsen, for Module 1 merit with George. Okay. He says to you, I wish the best luck for ACE TEFL. You really made a difference in my life, George, and helped me to pass Module 1 with a pass with merit.
Congratulations, of course, to Mohsen, and thank you very much, Mohsen, for your kind comment. Now, people are asking how much the exam costs and how much the course costs. Our course costs €650 for the whole course, and you can find details for the course about this course itself here. If you go for a part-time course, we have a course starting in a couple of weeks on the 15th of March, and we still have a couple of places on that course. So that is going to be a part-time course, 3 hours a week, and it will prepare you for the December 2021 exam. It's a relaxed course for people who are in full-time jobs, right, and can't take time off to do their Delta Module 1. So check the page that I sent you in the comments, and you will find all the details of that course here. But remember, it starts on March 15th, so that's in 16 days, and it's gonna be every Friday morning, so that people in Arabic countries can join it. It's going to be on their day off on a Friday that the course participants.
Great. So about the price, What can you, for example, offer installments? For example, if a teacher can pay the...
Yeah. 605 euro, and you can pay up to 3 installments.
Yeah, so you can pay in installments if you cannot pay the whole amount in one payment. Okay. So talking about the tutors in your courses, who are the tutors and are they experienced tutors?
What do you think? As I said, I'm the dinosaur of the Delta. I've been doing this for 30 years. Alex has also been doing it for quite a few years now. And there is a third tutor who we are now reaching an agreement with. And she is also very experienced with over 10 years of experience of teaching the Delta. The certificate that is asking about is awarded by Cambridge after you take the exam, and if you are successful in the exam. And because someone was asking about the exam cost, can I say the cost of the exam depends on where you are taking it.
It's
so if
I think took it in Saudi Arabia last month. I think he paid about 1,400 riyals. There was an increment because it used to be 120 to 1,200 riyals. I took it with you in Athens 4 years ago. It was around maybe 160 euros, something like that.
Something like that. You know, Cambridge has a different pricing policy for different parts of the world. So the price of the exam depends on where you take the exam. And it can differ. Like I know that in Europe, for example, in Germany, it is more expensive than it is in Greece, even though it's the same exam.
Yeah.
Probably because people in Germany have more money than people in Greece afford to pay a bit more.
It happened actually.
So the exam,
the price of the IELTS somewhere.
Absolutely, but the exam is not under our control. You know, we don't decide how much you pay for the exam. Cambridge does. We decide how much you need to pay for your course, which in our center, ACE TEFL, is 650 euro. So if you think you're interested, you may be interested in doing it with us, doing your module 1 with us, I'd be happy to talk to you either here on Messenger, or you can email me. I'm giving you my email as well. It's easy, george@acetefl.com.
Great.
And if you know more information about the Delta Module 1, please do visit our site. Everything is there, including the money.
Yeah. So you give money to the people in your website?
They give money to us.
Okay. You said including the money. And what's the timetable of your courses like? You said that the number of hours is 84 hours.
84 contact hours.
Contact hours.
So that
you mean face-to-face? Oh, yeah, on Zoom. Okay.
Yeah.
And each Friday, how many hours each Friday?
It's 3 hours every Friday, with a break in the summer. That's our part-time course that starts in a couple of weeks. It's going to be 3 hours every Friday in the morning until November, the end of November, but with a break in the summer to allow you to take a holiday.
Yeah. Great.
And the homework, you know, I think on top of that, on top of the 3 hours of contact, if you can manage to put aside 3 hours for homework and further study a week, then you should be fine.
Yeah.
On time is asking about current intensive course. We are not offering an intensive course at the moment. We are offering a part-time course starting on the 15th of March to prepare learners for the December exam.
Some
There
people
is also
get interested in an intensive
December.
course without input, for example, only exam tips or
No,
short courses.
It's not exam tips. It's a full course that prepares you fully for module.
So it
doesn't just tell you.
It has the two components, input and exam. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you offer something like short courses, maybe in the 1 month before the test, for people who want to get prepared? They did their study before or something?
Not yet, but we may be offering them. You know, if there is interest in just that, we can do that as well. But at the moment, we are offering a full course, you know, as I said, 84 contact hours, plus individual study and directed study, of course.
Okay. I think we have come to the end of all the questions right now. There's one question: how much homework and home study is there? I think you answered this.
Depending on your background, between 2 and 3 hours a week for the part-time course, right?
For how long? So the total hours, you said 48 hours for the contact hours. And
no, 48, 84.
84, sorry. 84 hours, contact hours. And how many other hours will be needed from anyone? How much commitment?
Another 84 to another 80 to 100 hours of individual study.
So it might goes up to make it like 200 hours.
It's almost 200 hours, including individual study, right?
Yeah.
And that's, we're not offering a course for the exam that is at the beginning of June, because there isn't really enough time to cover for the whole syllabus between now and June.
Yeah, the thing is that many candidates might join a course and they feel afraid from booking for the test because they don't feel that they are ready for entering the exam itself.
Yes, that's why we don't do it. You know, we don't do a course that's just 2 months, and we don't want to lie to people. You cannot do it in 2 months unless you do absolutely nothing else, unless, you know, you only do Delta. If you have a job and, you know, want to be working at the same time, it's not going to take you 1 or 2 months. It's going to take you 6 months or more.
Okay.
So that's what we're saying.
Some centers might promise people that if you join our course, you're gonna pass, you're gonna achieve blah blah blah. Would you promise something like that?
It's an exam. We prepare students as well as we can, but we do not guarantee that they will pass the exam. We do not sell certificates. The exam is set and marked by Cambridge. So if you do the work, you will pass the exam, and you will even get a good grade on it, like Mohsen did.
Yeah.
You just,
by the way, Mohsen works with me, and he's in the same place. So excellent that he could manage full-time work with the Delta at the same time. Yeah, and
right?
because the course actually was part-time, so it's suitable for people who are working full-time. There is no extra commitment. Yes, you one day of your weekend will be taken to the Delta, and another 3 or 4 hours for your self-study. Just drink your cup of tea and sit down in front of your computer, do your study and research, and after you have taken the input, and do the tasks if there are any tasks or assignments or homework. And it's very easy now. I think if I attended module 1 with you again, George, I'm gonna get extinction or merit.
Everything is possible as long as you do the work.
Yeah. As long as you have the picture is full in front of you, you know where things are, or where are the bits and of the test and the components of the syllabus and the quality of the input. If you remember Muhammad Fathallah, who took the CELTA with you in 2014, our friend, he's also telling you, great to see you, George, the ELT guru.
Yeah, I don't know about guru, but great to see you all too. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Muntasar asks if you offer access to the course content after the course ends. Yes, Mustafa. Yes, Muntasar, sorry.
You'll also get recordings of all the sessions of the course that you can refer to after the course.
Yeah. So just after the session is ended, you will have the link to the recording. You can download it and watch it. It will be a good source for you to study again, or if you, for example, for a certain time you were not able to do the test after the course, so you have the material already. You have the sessions.
Yeah, you
can do the course again on your own.
From being absent, but if you have to be absent, at least for one lesson, at least you can watch the recording and try to make up the work.
Yes. Yusuf asks, what kind of summary do I need while reading books about English language to take the most benefit of my Delta?
It's not a question I can easily answer because I'm not sure I understand it. The Delta is not about reading and memorizing books. You will get reading tasks and assignments, and you will have to read and look for specific information in books. What we want to make sure as tutors about is that you understand what you're reading and that you can apply your knowledge to practice. So it's not the kind of course where you just, memorize the book or the summary and you write those things down in the when you take the exam. It's a much deeper understanding that you require. And that's also the reason why you need to do a course. It's really not recommended that you study on your own. You will get confused.
Okay. There is a question here. Why should I take? Why should we take the Delta at all?
You don't have to. Take the Delta if you are ambitious, if you have thought about how your career will continue and how it will develop. If you're interested in getting access to the better positions, the better jobs in the profession, then that's a good reason to do the Delta. But otherwise, no, not everyone has to do the Delta. And in fact, the majority of language teachers out there have not done the Delta.
Yeah.
That's why who have the Delta have access to much better jobs than those who don't have it. If everyone had the Delta, it wouldn't have the same value, would it?
I know people who just took the Delta, but they don't know how to invest it later, because in many job ads, you would find TEFL, TESOL, and Delta. It's the thing is that the employers themselves don't realize the value of the Delta. But if, for example, applying for the British Council, they know where to put you. If you get the Delta, you are supposed to be a senior teacher, not a teacher. You will be a director of study. You might get like an academic manager position or a teacher trainer position. So when you decide to take the Delta, you have to make a search about what are the perspectives of such a certificate. And the thing is that people now, considering the situation of COVID, and there like a rarity of job openings nowadays around the world, this might be a little bit confusing, because you could take like the Delta and you can find a job easily, but Delta is a big investment, and a good thing that you can start early in your career, so that just in case you want to shift from teaching to training teachers, or you shift from teaching. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't mean that you have to take it in 1 year. If you cannot take it in 1 year, if you finish one module a year, it will be a good plan for you. Let's check if there are any questions. There's a question here, but I cannot understand it. Is it possible to get a certification for general language teaching, not specifying the pair of language used? I cannot get the point here.
No, I don't get it either, but let me just say that the Delta is intended to be a qualification that does not limit you to one teaching and learning context. So whether you're teaching in Egypt, France, the US, Saudi Arabia, whether you're teaching young learners or adults, whether you're teaching business English students or academic English students, the Delta is adaptable. So, the Delta does not specify either a learning context or an age group. It's a diploma for all the aspects of language teaching.
Although the A at the end of the word Delta, the acronym Delta, you actually used to refer to adults, but that was before 2011, right?
Yeah.
So Cambridge changed the policy of the certificates, I think.
Yes.
And so there was a question before, during the technical issues that happened at the beginning. Someone was asking about this point. Is in a relation between the Delta and the young learners, and in which module do they study about young learners?
All modules. You can do the practical part of the Delta is module 2. So module 2, you can your practical teaching you could do with any age group, but if you want to specialize in teaching young learners, then you will do that in module 3.
Okay, let's just stop at this point. Okay, so because first time no. Okay.
Delta, so I put it there.
What is
maybe
it?
You
again? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I just said the blog a blog post I wrote about the Delta recently, which you reminded me of. So I put it in the comments for people to have a look.
Like A, B, C, D, alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. People are getting tired. Less and less participation in the comments. So maybe we should.
So actually, we have come to the end of the session, and thank you, George, for this informative session. I got this piece of information that I can do Delta Module 2 even with young learner. It was new for me. Okay, great. So, and also it could be helpful for some people who are interested to do Delta Module 2 with their learners if they are young. So you don't have to do Delta Module 2 with adults. Okay.
Correct.
And also, Muntasir says to you, it has been a lovely introduction. Thank you, Muntasir. Thank you. It was lovely introducing George to us. Okay.
And can I just say,
Daniela here. You remember? You're still.
Hi, Daniela. Good to
Hi,
see
Daniela.
you.
How are you?
The face
Nice
there.
Yeah.
Good to know that you are there.
Maybe she's in China now.
Where are you, Daniela? Are you in China? Are you somewhere else? Let us know. Anyway, we can message you later. Thank you all very, very much. And thank you, Imad, for having me.
Okay, thank you. And have a good night, George. Let's say it in Greek. Kalinechta.
Kalinechta in Greek, exactly. I mean, you're a linguist. You can now speak Greek as well. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.